What's going on, guys? Joey here, and I'm going to be breaking down the 11-game main slate for the NBA tonight on DraftKings Friday. So let's take a look at last night's lineup, which is a big laughing stock after LeBron got rolled out and maybe make some pivots in different directions. Like I said, I hate playing Westbrook. Like Westbrook, I hate playing him on here, though. He was $8,500, scored 31 points. With LeBron out, you would have thought he would have played a lot better. Not the case in any way. And after Anthony Davis being limited the night before, he comes in the last night. He gets hurt somewhere in that first half. I can't remember exactly where, but he gets hurt, and then he comes back. He ends up scoring right around 55 or so points. So that was great. Not. Then we move on to Malik Monk. Malik Monk, good value. Avery Bradley plays about 25 minutes, I believe. 26 minutes, 5.5 points. That's fun. Then we go to Thibault. Thibault, good value. Like I said, liked him over Korkmaz, and he did play better than Korkmaz. You got Embiid. Embiid was 11,400. He scored 51 points, which right here shows a cold emoji. I know it's not great, but for a two-game slate, it is what it is. I would have liked to have seen him somewhere in the 60s. We'll come back to D'Angelo Russell in a second. Jared Vanderbilt, 26 points at 5,500. It's okay. Klay Thompson, 5,300, 37 points. Klay's minutes are slowly going up, but they are going up. So it starts to make you feel a little safer playing him going forward. And then D'Angelo Russell. So I thought he was the better play over Edwards last night. And he gets hurt right around the 9-minute mark in the third quarter with a left shin contusion. So, yeah, I mean, that ended his night right there. And that took, I mean, the lineup was already pretty freaking dead from Westbrook and Bradley earlier in the night. But that completely took it out of doing anything. So, now let's move into that 11-game slate. First game, Detroit at Orlando. So these are the two probably, I think they are the two worst teams in the NBA right now. I know Orlando is the worst. So, with Detroit, I never feel comfortable about playing anyone on Detroit, so I'm not going to. Orlando, kind of the same feeling. The one I would consider would probably be Jalen Suggs. His price did go up after a bad game, but these three games before, 37, 46, and 35, and he's having shot attempts of 14, 16, and then 10 and 10. But he has the possibility of doing well. And at 6,100, I think you can consider him because there's 11 games. There's going to be value in there. If you want to get him in there, I feel like that's possible. Then we're going to move on to Boston at Atlanta. For this game, hard to feel confident on any of the Boston guys while they're all healthy, just because I feel like they all kind of get a fair share of workload with one or two of them going off. Usually it's Tatum and Brown, but it's hard to tell who's the better play out of the two. So you got nights where you've got Tatum at 54, 79, 49, and 24. And you got Brown with nights of 51, 36, 36, 41. So they're kind of back and forth. So it's probably just going to be a pass for me on that. And then we'll move on to Atlanta. For Atlanta, Trae Young. As always, I like to consider Trae Young. At 10-6, he's got this past 3 or 4 games are in the 40s. We know what Trae Young can do. He can get the 68 points. He can get the 54 points. But like the 2 games right here below. So he's obviously got that potential, and he's going to bounce back. At 10-6, I think Trae Young is actually a fine play going up against Boston. Everyone's back and healthy, it looks like. So Collins and Capella are a pass. And then DeAndre Hunter is one I would actually consider too. Bad last game. His minutes at 17 minutes. But right before at 34, 35, 34. So I don't know why he was limited on those minutes. But I feel like he is a okay play at 5,200 as well. So now we'll move on to the Lakers at Charlotte. For this game, let's see how LeBron is. LeBron is out Thursday. Okay, so he's day-to-day right now. So say he comes back tonight. I think LeBron is a great play. No way if LeBron is out, I'm going to Westbrook. And for that value, I would consider, let me take Charlotte off here real quick. For that value, I would consider Malik Monk. Another good night, like I said. And let's see what Anthony Davis's minutes are. His minutes were 34 minutes last night after even getting hurt in that first half. He scored 59 points. The only thing I worry about Anthony Davis is we all know how fragile he is. There is that potential he does get hurt. So that is the risk that he comes with. I think there's enough stars on this slate, this 11-game slate, to where you don't need to go to Anthony Davis. If LeBron's in, go to LeBron. If he's out, play Malik Monk. I really think that's kind of it. Other than that, I don't think there's any need to go to a Talon Horton-Tucker, who got 12.5 points, or Bradley again, who got 5.5. And let me check out Carmelo. Yeah, I mean, Carmelo in the teens for DraftKings points. I mean, there's no need to go there. So if LeBron's in, you play him. If he's out, you play Malik Monk, and you just kind of move on from there. Now for Charlotte, I do like this Charlotte team a good amount. LaMelo, great last game, 69 points. He has the shot attempts of right above 15 per game. Got you on the assists. He does fairly well rebounding too. So I mean, he really does everything. On this one, I think the price gap is kind of closing in on the two of them. I think I'd prefer LaMelo over Rozier, now that that price gap is a little closer than it was before. And other than that, that's really it. Then we go to Portland and Houston. Now this is one that intrigues me a little bit on the Portland side, because Lillard is still out. I think McCollum is a fine play at 7,300. Last game only scored 37. I think he's going to go up from there. Simons at 6,800 is a little bit riskier now that McCollum is back, but he's going to score in the 30s. He does have a little bit of upside. He is going to get those shot attempts like McCollum. So I feel like you can consider him, but I don't think he's anywhere near like a must. Then one I like, with Little being out, I think they said for the whole season or possibly the whole season. He will miss the remainder of the season. So if Robert Covington is in, I think you can play Robert Covington, and I think he would be a good play. If he's out, I think you go right back to Nurkic. Even after a bad game, he's going up against Christian Wood. I think he'll do fine against Christian Wood. So if Covington is out, play Nurkic. If Covington is in, play Covington, or you could play Nurkic. No matter what, I think Nurkic is a fine play, but I think he gets better with Covington out. Between McCollum and Simons, I would go McCollum. Price difference isn't too much. It's 500. So McCollum would be the better play. And I do actually like McCollum a good amount. Let me go to Houston. For Houston, you got Kevin Porter Jr., 6,400. He's an okay play. His shot attempts aren't, he really doesn't shoot the ball. He shoots it in the teens, but it's the low teens. He shoots 12 times a game. Is pretty consistent in these past 4 games. He shoots the three a little. This team has been pretty bad overall. They do have some wins right there, but you go through their whole season so far, and they just have not been great. And if there is any chance of blowout in this game, which I think, again, with the Rockets, I think always has potential for a blowout, he's going to get pulled. So I don't think there's really a must for this game at all. Jalen Green, has he been changing on anything? Jalen Green he gets used, but he just doesn't do a whole lot. And then no way I would go to Christian Wood up against Nurkic. I know I've seen centers before talk about how it's a big challenge to go up against him. So I don't think Christian Wood's a good play either. So really, you play some of Portland, depending on Covington in or out. That changes things a little too. Like I said, I like Nurkic more if Covington is out. And that's really it. And then McCollum. McCollum's a good play too. I'm going to go to Utah at Memphis. For this game, Gobert is still out. So Hassan Whiteside, I think, is not a must, but he's a good play. He's going to be going up against Jaren Jackson, and probably, I believe, Brandon Clark would be the one that would probably be in that lineup. 36 points in his last game, 27 the game before. He's going to get you the rebounds. He is getting about 10 shot attempts per game in the past 2 games. I think Whiteside is a solid play. Let me take Memphis off. Then another one I would consider. So Donovan Mitchell is questionable if he's in. I think he's a solid play. If he's out, I think Conley is a good play. Conley at 7,100, probably going to score somewhere in the 30s. He's going to play in the 30s, no matter what, if Mitchell's in or out. He has the assists in there. Doesn't really rebound too much. Obviously, he's a point guard. I think Conley is a solid play. And I think that would be it. Let me check out Royce O'Neal. It's a little back and forth. So Royce O'Neal, I wouldn't consider him. So basically Conley and Whiteside would be the two I would consider on Utah. If Mitchell's in, I would consider Mitchell and Whiteside and not Conley. Now for Memphis, here's a game that I think is great for Ja Morant and probably one of my favorite plays for the night. I think now that I say he's going to have a great game, watch it bust. So I think Ja Morant is a great play against Utah. He's been great. I think he's going to continue to be great. So yeah, Ja Morant is my favorite. Desmond Bane is good to go. Desmond Bane. I think at 6,100, Desmond Bane is a great play. I think, honestly, I'm probably going to consider playing both because while Ja is pricey, Desmond Bane is not. So then we look at Jaren Jackson. And Jaren Jackson he's been playing pretty solid. And at 6,700, I think he's playing better than what his price says. Now the thing is, he's not going up against Rudy Gobert. So I think Jaren Jackson has potential to do well again. And if you get him in there, so I got 5,300 per player and 26,900 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. So I think there's potential to get all three in there. But I mainly like Morant and Bane. Then we're going to move on to the Clippers at the Miami Heat. For this game, it's basically Amir Coffey or stay away. Well, Amir Coffey has had a 3.5 and a 16 and a 22-point game in 3 of his last 5. His last 2 games, he's got, I think he actually got hurt in that 3rd game where he had 18 minutes. I believe that's where he got hurt. But yeah, in the past 2 games, 12 shot attempts and 21 shot attempts. Man, if you get those 21 shot attempts and hit more than that 10 that he hit 2 games ago, that would be big at 5,400. So Amir Coffey, you can consider him. That's really it. There's nothing else that I like on this Clippers team. They're so inconsistent and hard to tell who's going to do what. Then on Miami's side, this is the side I really like. Lowry is out. I want to see what that starting lineup is. If Gabe Vincent is in, you can consider him at 5,100. But he's probably going to score somewhere in the 20s. So he's right on that fringe of value because he's 5,100. I would say if he's below 5,000, he's true value. Hero. If Hero gets put into that starting lineup, I think he's a great play. If not, I think he's a little bit more riskier at 6,400 if he's not in that starting lineup. But I think you can consider him. Jimmy Butler is questionable. If Butler's out, Hero should be in that starting lineup, I would assume. And he's a great play. But if Butler's in, I think Butler going up against, who did he go against? Probably Marcus Morris, I believe. I think Butler is a great play. There's no reason to fear him going up against Marcus Morris. And then at center, Bam would play against probably Zubac or Hardenstein. I think they'd probably start Zubac against Adebayo, though, just because of size. Adebayo hasn't been great scoring-wise. He's 7,500, but I think going against the Clippers, I think he can do fine. So Gabe Vincent is okay value. Butler, if in, is great. If he's out, Hero is a good play. And then Adebayo, I think, is a solid play. But my favorite out of any of them, if Butler's in, is my favorite. If Butler's out, then Hero is my favorite. And I think actually if Butler is out, I think Hero is honestly, in my opinion, a must. If he starts, which he should. Then we got the Pacers at OKC. So we've got Sabonis, who's questionable. Still nothing updated besides just questionable. Then we've got Turner still out. We've got... Let's see who else is out. Brogdon is still out. LeVert is in. LeVert's price, I think, has actually even gone up. LeVert's price has gone up, and in these past few games, he's been awful. I mean, 38 points and 22 points to 8,800 is just so bad, and his price has actually gone up 200 from the last game. So, even if Brogdon is out, there's no way I'm going to LeVert. So, you got to look at that starting lineup and see who else starts. It's probably LeVert. If I were to guess, LeVert, Duarte, Holiday, Craig, and if Sabonis is in, Sabonis. If Sabonis is out, Goga. I think that's what it was last time. Really, the only one, based on price points, is probably Holiday because it's not as risky. Duarte, 6,400, and he's scoring 18, 28, and 29. I mean, there's no reason to go to that. But Holiday at 5,000, if he gets you somewhere in the 20s like he has in 3 of the last 5, I think you can consider him as a fringe value option. And then Torrey Craig, if Sabonis is out, I'll consider Torrey Craig if Sabonis is out. Probably going to score in the 20s. Maybe he hits 30. But 4,700, I think that's perfectly fine. When OKC, for OKC, right now it's really, let me check out Giddey. Yeah, Giddey's not been great for DraftKings. But Shea is the one I would always consider. I mean, 58, 57, 48, 29, and then 52. And 4 of his last 5 games, he's been 48 and above. So Shea is one I would, as usual, I would always consider. But like I said, I like Morant a lot tonight, so Shea might not be able to make it in. But I think he is a great play, as usual. Especially going up against a Brogdon list and a possible Sabonis list, Indiana Pacers. I think he should have no trouble scoring tonight. Then we've got the Nuggets at the Pelicans. For this game, on the Nuggets side, let me look at Jeff Green's last game. Yeah, Jeff Green's last game. That was the one where he had 3 points in the first half. Came out, got 16 total in that third quarter. And then just kind of disappeared from that lineup. So it's just hard to go back to a guy that kind of evaporated in, I think it was a close game, actually. Let me check. Yeah, it was a close game against the Nets and just kind of disappeared from that lineup. So there's no way you can go to him. His minutes have gone down every game in the last 4. So, yeah, pass on Jeff Green. Aaron Gordon, it's hard at 6,300 after a guy who just came off an 18-point game. But the one, as usual, Jokic. I mean, Jokic at 12-6. Like Embiid last night. Embiid should have done better. But like Embiid last night, this is a guy that's just always going to play so well. He is going up against Valanciunas. I think Valanciunas is out. If Valanciunas is in, like I would assume, Jokic is going up against him. I think he should do fine. 54-point game the last game, so not great. But 69, 62, 71, 93. I mean, Jokic at 12,600 is usually going to pay off. And that's why he's always a great play. And say you were to get him in there. Yeah, that's how it's hard with Morant. But Jokic is always a great play. So Jokic would probably be my only play on the Nuggets. Then we go to the Pelicans. For the Pelicans, Valanciunas is out. I'm not going to play a center up against Nikola Jokic. But, let's see, Graham and... Okay, Hart and Ingram are questionable. If they are questionable, or if they are out... if they're out, look at that starting lineup. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, if he gets put in one of those spots, I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a great play. And also a value play at $4,400. Look at last game, 47 points. I would go to the NAW if those two are out. If those two are in, let me look at Herb Jones. Herb Jones at 4,900 is solid value, I think, no matter what. If those two are out, I think he becomes an even better value. he would be going up against probably Jeff Green. So I think he would be fine. And if those two get ruled out, let me check Garrett Temple's last game. Yeah, even with all those guys out last game, Temple was still bad. And that would probably be it. And the guards are in, so Alvarado isn't going to play. Then we go to Chicago and the Spurs, or Chicago at the Spurs. For this game, I think, let's see, Ball's out, Levine. Okay, so everyone's in but Ball and Caruso. Now for this game, I would pass on the guards, and I would probably just go to DeRozan. DeRozan at 8,500. I think that's a fine price for a guy who has good potential of 45 plus. So I think DeRozan, as usual, is a good play. And if you get him in there, got 4,900 per player left with Morant, Bane, DeRozan, Coffee. So something like that I think would be fine. And we go to the Spurs. For the Spurs, DeJounte Murray, always a good play. He's going to be going up against Kobe White. I think he can work Kobe White pretty well. He's going to shoot the ball a good amount. He's a guard that gets you the rebounds and assists. He gets the steals. I mean, he does it all. That's why he scores so well on DraftKings. And I think he's a great play. Like I said, Morant is probably one of my favorites of the night. So I don't know if I get to Murray, but Murray is always a great play. Now that I say that, I play Morant. Watch, Morant's going to have the bust. Murray's going to have the great game. And that's how it's going to end up going. But we move on to Pirtle. And Pirtle's going to be going up against Vooch. Not the greatest matchup. But, I mean, Pirtle just went up against... it was Jaren Jackson. Okay, he went up against Joel Embiid on the 23rd. He got 49 points. So, I mean, Joel Embiid is probably the toughest matchup you can have. Either Joel or Jokic. So, Vooch isn't... I mean, he's up there. He's not on their level. So, I think Pirtle's a fine play. And Pirtle's 6,400. He's such an underpriced center for what he scores, in my opinion. So we'll move on to Minnesota Timberwolves at the Phoenix Suns. Now, D'Angelo Russell is questionable. He didn't return. I would assume he's probably out if he did not return. It was a left shin contusion. For the moment, let's call him out. If he's out, and Beverly is still questionable. If Beverly's in and Russell's out, you play Beverly. Beverly is probably the best play on this team when it comes to price. If Beverly and Russell are out, you look for that starting lineup. Edwards becomes a good play. No matter what, if Russell's out and if Beverly is out, Edwards is probably the best play if those two are out. But if one of the two are in, you can play them. If Russell's out, play Beverly. If both are out, play Edwards. Or if Noel is in that starting lineup, you could play Noel. I think Noel would be a good play. Probably has to be the starter for point guard on that team if both of them are out. McDaniels last night. He was good value. He's 3,500. You consider him. Should be in the starting lineup again tonight. Jared Vanderbilt. Let's see. He had an okay night. 26 points. Nights before he was doing really well. His price came down 200. Consider him as well. And then Cat. Cat is one that I am intrigued by because he should be going up just against Bismack, Biyombo. Yeah, Ayton is out, McGee's out, Kaminsky's out. Yeah, so he'll be going up against Biyombo. So Cat should be able to eat. Cat got 60 last night against Kevon Looney. The night before, 50 against Nurk. Night before that, 42 against, who was it? Claxton and Aldridge. Cat's a great play as well. You could play Cat. So take those all in consideration. Russell, Beverly are out. Play Edwards. If Russell's out, Beverly's in, play Beverly. No matter what, you can play Cat. Vanderbilt and McDaniels are both considerable options, are both good. Vanderbilt's fringe value, McDaniels is great value. I think I think there is some good plays within that Minnesota team. Let me go to Phoenix. For Phoenix, it pains me to say it. I think you can go back to Chris Paul after that bad night the other night. Booker and Paul kind of alternate every night, I feel like, with who does best. Chris Paul. Let's go with Chris Paul for tonight. Leonard center. I don't feel great about Bismack. His price came up, and he's playing against Karl Anthony Towns, so I'm just going to take a pass on that. Let me check out Cam Johnson. I think you can go back to Cam Johnson. He's 4,700. I think you can easily go back to him. And then it's probably it. But yeah, Cam Johnson, he has the minutes. He's playing mid to high 30s. I mean, he has all the time to do what he needs to do. He just needs to do more of whatever it is that he needs to do, whether it's rebounding, assists, scoring. But at 4,700, I think he's worth the risk. Then we go to the last game. We go to the Knicks and Bucks. For this game, it's really Giannis, and that's kind of it. I really don't even like playing the other side. I don't like playing the Knicks side. They're kind of, I believe they're a slower paced team. Barrett just came off a bad game, and I'm not going to play Randall or Robinson against probably getting guarded by Portis and Antetokounmpo. So yeah, it's basically Giannis for this game, and that's kind of it. But at 11-8, like I said, I like Morant, and Giannis hasn't been playing super hot. So this game's just kind of a whole pass for me. Okay, and so yeah, that'll basically break down the whole thing for me. Like I said, I like some of those Memphis guys. Let me go team by team. So first game, kind of a pass besides Suggs. Second game, Atlanta, Trae Young, maybe Hunter, and that's kind of it. For Lakers and Charlotte, for Lakers, if LeBron's in, you play LeBron. If LeBron's out, you can consider Anthony Davis, but he does get injured. For Charlotte, LaMelo Ball, basically, and that's it. Portland, Houston. For Portland, McCollum. Covington, if Covington's out, Nurkic gets even better of a play, but no matter what, a good play. For Houston's basically a pass, I think, was it for me. For Utah, Conley, if Mitchell's out, if Mitchell's in, you can play Mitchell. Whiteside, I think, is a good play as well. For Memphis, Ja, Bane, Jackson are probably the three I would consider most. Morant being one of my favorites on this slate. For the Clippers and the Heat, for the Clippers, it's Coffee or pass. For the Heat, it's Butler. If Butler's in, if Butler's out, Hero is probably the best play on there. And you can consider Adebayo and maybe Vincent. Vincent is fringe value. For the Pacers, like I said, LeVert's a pass. Sabonis, if he's in, is a good play. If he's out, I would consider Justin Holiday for a possible option. Should be in that starting lineup. So I think he's decent value. For the Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, or basically pass for the rest of the team. For the Nuggets, it's Jokic or pass. For the Pelicans, if Hart and Ingram are out, you can go ahead and play. Who was it that I said? Herb Jones becomes a better play. If Ingram and Hart are out, you can play NAW, and I think he becomes a really good play. When for the Bulls was DeRozan or pass. For the Spurs, like I said, Pirtle. Oh, Pirtle's right here. I already have him in here. Pirtle, great play. Murray is a great play. Like I said, I like Morant more, so I won't get to Murray probably. But I'll update on Twitter, and I have that Twitter in my YouTube bio. For Minnesota, like I said, Minnesota has some great plays. You've got Cat, you've got Vanderbilt, you've got McDaniels. If Russell and Beverly are out, Edwards is probably the best play on that team. If Russell's out and Beverly's in, you play Beverly. If they're both out, you can play Noel. On the Phoenix Suns side, like I said, Cam Johnson is probably one of the better plays for value. Chris Paul, I would lean him over Booker. Passing on Biyombo. I think that was it for that team. Not that Booker's a bad play. He's still a good play. And then for the New York Knicks, that was a complete pass for me. And on the Bucks side, it's Giannis or pass. But Giannis hasn't been playing great the past couple games. So I'd probably just pass on Giannis as a whole, especially with getting Morant in there. And that will do it for the breakdown. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment below. Tell me how I can change what I'm doing, any suggestions that you can make. And if you want to look for my updates before lock, my Twitter is in the bio at the Joey McCusker, MCCUSKER. And yeah, go follow that. Look for my updates below the video link that I put on there for this. And yeah, that'll do it for a breakdown. Thank you.